Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for joining our press conference today. We'll begin now. My name is Gemma Hickey. I'm the board president of ECA Global, a survivor of clergy abuse from Newfoundland and Labrador, Canada. To the far left of me here is Tim Law. Tim is a co-founder of ECA Global and an advocate as well. Next to me here is Matthias Ketch from Germany, an advocate and also a co-founding member of ECA Global. To the immediate right, I have Evelyn Korkmaz, an Indigenous survivor of St. Anne's Residential School, also a fellow Canadian and an advocate. Next to Evelyn is Janet Aguti from Uganda, the vice president of the board of ECA Global. And we have Sergio Salinas from Argentina, a lawyer, advocate, and a board member. And at the far end here we have Francesco Zanardi, is a member of ECA, also representing Italian survivors and groups here in Italy. So as you know, we had a meeting today with Pope Leo at the Vatican, and it was an hour-long meeting. It was very open, and each of us shared some personal reflections. Pope Leo was very warm. He listened. He has a sense of humor, very humble. And so at the beginning of the meeting, I presented a statement on behalf of the board of ECA. And I'll read it for you now. We highlighted the fact that this may be a dark chapter for many of us, but we can't change how the story ends. So we approached the meeting with open minds, and it was full of possibility in that way. Ending Clergy Abuse is a global network of survivors and advocates from 30 countries, united by a shared commitment to ending abuse and institutional cover-ups within the Catholic Church. We come here not in anger, but in hope. Hope for healing, accountability, and lasting change. We believe in the inherent dignity of every child and vulnerable adult, the courage of every survivor, and the moral responsibility of the Church to lead with transparency and compassion. Our mission is to support those who have been harmed, to advocate for reforms that protect the vulnerable, and to help restore trust and integrity to the institution we know has the capacity for great good. Some of the initiatives that ECA Global is working on that I shared with Pope Leo were partnering with the Gregorian to advocate for zero tolerance in canon law, collaborating with Latin American survivors to convene a conference on Opus Dei in Argentina, and supporting Filipino survivors in forming a national organization, as well as other things that we're working on currently. Inspired by Pope Leo's words upon becoming Pope, because some of us had attended the conclave, we told him that we come as bridge builders, ready to walk together toward truth, justice, and healing. And also, because the times are so polarized, that the most radical act that we can engage in right now is sitting down and having a conversation. At which point I shared my own reflections on my experience as a transgender survivor of clergy abuse, having been abused as a girl by a priest in St. John's, and how he was removed for a period of time and then put in charge of another two parishes actually, which was difficult to navigate for most of my life. That betrayal and the institutional betrayal and the trauma eventually forged me into an advocate and formed organizations back home in Canada, and eventually led me to serving on the board of ECA with my incredible colleagues. So I'm going to now pass the microphone over to Mateus, and if anyone else would like to share reflections, but we do welcome questions from the audience.
Thank you, Gemma. I don't want to add too much to what has been said. Maybe you have your questions, but I wanted to highlight three aspects we think are really crucial out of this meeting. First, he took his time with us. He listened carefully. 1 hour is not little for a man who is in charge of a global organization as it is the Catholic Church. Very kind atmosphere, very nice way how to deal, how to treat us, but carefully listening to the issues. And he realized and recognized in the meeting that this was the first time, not that Pope meets survivors, but the Pope meets survivors activists, advocates, who are since many years trying to get the Church to work on zero tolerance, justice, compensation, all the issues we had been addressing all these last years. And he said, okay, this is the next historic step, to sit together, as Gemma said, and talk. The second aspect, he allowed us to stay in contact, to have an open channel of communication with him, because I think he is decided to do what he can do to fight child sexual abuse within the Church and to help healing, supporting survivors and trying to help them to get acknowledged and find ways to held accountable those who have failed. I think he is still in a phase where he's trying to find out how to best address these issues, because the dimension of the problem is huge, he recognized. And he shared with us that he himself had not experienced with abuse personally, but he had been in contact with survivors not only in South America, but for example also in Africa and other places. So he's not trying to tell us how it feels like, but he wanted to highlight that he tries to understand and that he is convinced that he should listen to survivors in a more organized way in the future. And the third thing, he encouraged us to go on to grow as an organization, representing the voices of survivors all over the world, because we know that there are places in the world, and you automatically think for Africa or other regions where the process we are in has already started. It's something which is still ahead, and we did not talk specifically about Italy, but everyone was having this in mind, that it's not only in the far south or far east, but sometimes it could be around the corner, that organizations within the Church, like religious orders or communities, congregations, are still on the point that they have to start the process. So I can say personally, I felt hope coming out of this meeting, and I saw a man who tries to do what he can do, but recognizes also that the times where a pope is saying one sentence and everything is settled are over. And that's why I think he's moving on his own space and speed. And I reminded him of the turtle I always have carrying with me It is a very, very slow process, and sometimes for survivors you can't stay it anymore, but it is so long. But organizational change needs time. The important thing is he willing to go on? And my conclusion from this meeting, yes, he's decided to go on and to do the next steps. Thank you.
Thank you, Matthias. Anyone else? Any questions?
You've been mentioning Italy, and last week there was a press conference where of the Commissione Tutela Minorum of the Church. So I have two questions. How much do you believe in the work of this commission? Are they more or less online with your positions? Concerning Italy, one topic was that there are, I think, 216 dioceses in Italy, and only 85 or something reacted to the questions of the Commission. Where do you see the problems in Italy?
So I can't speak for Italy. I'll let my colleague Francesco add to that. But I will say that we did discuss the report briefly, and we talked about ways that we can partner with the Commission. Where ECA Global is an independent organization, not involved with the church, that there are ways that we can work together. I don't know if anyone else has anything to add on that before
Well, it's not a secret that survivors like me were a little bit disappointed by the report. It mentioned a lot of very important issues, had very good wording, quoted survivors, but it's not clear what are the next steps now to go. So it was, in my opinion, too soft. The approach of the Commission should be much more urgent and showing steps to be taken in the next future. The question to Italy, really, I think it's not enough that survivors speak. They have spoken in Italy for years now. I believe it's needed that the society is listening. And it's not only the church, it's also the society in Italy who needs to be willing to listen and to take the consequences out of what they were told by survivors. I know that's not the answer for the why, but I think the next step really is a reaction from the Italian society. The politicians, the media plays a very important role to move the Italian church in the same direction as in other countries where the process started later, like Spain, for example, or even France. So,
if you know,
is this the answer to your question? Or?
Yep. Francesco can add to that. He's Italian. He's an Italian.
You move the microphone over there to him. Oh, the microphone.
This one?
Both.
Both.
I think maybe.
Speaks Italian. This one? Okay.
Even this. That's mine actually.
Francesco didn't attend the meeting with us, but he can certainly comment on.
Bene, eccoci. Vabbè, ho letto la pronuncia che ha fatto la Commissione Minori, attacca l'Italia con 15 anni di ritardo, perché sono 15 anni che le vittime italiane dicono quello che poi ha detto con 15 anni di ritardo la Commissione Pontificia. Parole che condividiamo, perché in realtà è quello che noi stessi diciamo, ma non sentiamo nostre, e prevedono grossi errori ancora. La Commissione Pontificia non ha interpellato l'Italia, eppure se voi andate a pagina 53 del rapporto della Commissione ci sono i dati della rete d'abuso. cioè riportati esattamente nelle cifre i dati che abbiamo sul nostro sito, quindi dirò in più che li hanno pure copiati. La Commissione Pontificia in Italia appunto non comprende nessuna vittima italiana, neanche l'unica associazione che c'è, quindi diciamo ha totalmente escluso le vittime. Io credo che questo sia un grosso problema. Quello che è uscito dalla Commissione Pontificia sembra un default, cioè un dire ah vabbè ci siamo sbagliati dopo 15 anni, adesso ripensiamo tutto da capo. Cioè tra altri 15 anni poi probabilmente troveremo un'altra commissione pontificia che dirà ah ma abbiamo sbagliato anche il rapporto di questi 15 anni. Ora io credo che in Italia ci siano parecchi dati. Noi questa settimana presenteremo il secondo rapporto dell'associazione e non anticipo molto ma qualcosa anticipo sull'Italia. L'Italia attualmente su 31.000 preti 1110 preti sono pedofili e tutti a piede libero. Nessuna vittima è stata risarcita economicamente, nessuna vittima è stata supportata per quanto riguarda cure mediche. Praticamente la Chiesa in Italia ha fatto una sola cosa di quello che ha detto: ha aperto gli sportelli diocesani, ma perché fa comodo alla Chiesa, è un modo per prevenire le denunce delle vittime. Quindi non possiamo vederci nulla di positivo. Ripeto, la notizia della Commissione la condividiamo, ma è quello che diciamo da 15 anni. Vuol dire che la Chiesa per 15 anni non ci ha ascoltato e lo sta continuando a fare, perché l'assenza della parola delle vittime italiane la dice lunga. Il fatto che abbiano copiato i dati la dice lunga, il fatto che la Commissione abbia scelto l'unico posto in Italia che non ha dati, ovvero l'osservatorio italiano del Ministero, insomma, io non trovo nulla di positivo e in Italia purtroppo abbiamo un problema particolare in confronto agli altri paesi. In Italia la Chiesa delinque insieme allo Stato italiano, che sta in silenzio, la lascia fare, perché in 15 anni lo Stato italiano non ha fatto un solo intervento.
Grazie.
Sorry.
Grazie.
Anyone else have any comments on the mission report?
Tim wanted to answer this.
I saw you.
Yeah, one more thought on the Papal Commission report. I agree with Matthias' assessment that there was some wonderful words, but soft on, especially on any solutions. Pope Leo suggested that we might have a conversation with them, so maybe we could put some more bite into that commission if we can have a dialogue and conversation with them. So we'll explore that opportunity.
Sergio?
Sí. In Spanish.
Sí.
That's the point. It's ECA Global. So, en español. Para mí, como abogado y miembro del directorio de ECA, es importante entender que la comisión es un paso importante, pero como dice Francesco, como estamos diciendo todos, o como dijo Matías, que es soft, no tiene sanción. Y toda norma que no tenga sanción no tiene mucho sentido. Decir que existe el homicidio o el abuso y no tiene una pena no llega a ningún lugar. Es simplemente lo que se conoce como una declaración de principio. Entonces es importante ir en búsqueda de la sanción, o como ya se puede decir, ir en búsqueda del culpable, no solo de aquellas expresiones de esto está mal.
Grazie. Dimenticavo, aggiungo solo che scriveremo e manderemo il report nostro anche alla Commissione Vaticana chiedendo un incontro, poi vediamo se...
Solo che fate la conferenza proprio il giorno della visita dei
la
reali.
spostiamo adesso venerdì,
okay.
Non lo sapevamo.
Meno male. No, meno male.
La spostiamo venerdì, adesso poi vi arrivo comunicato appena arriviamo a Savona. Scusate.
Scusi, Francesco. There's a question
Yeah,
from...
I'm Joshua Mack with Reuters. Thank you. Sorry, I may have missed some things. I was writing as you were talking. Can I just ask, can you say how many survivors were in the meeting with Leo? And can you give us any more information about what it was like? Where did you meet? How did you sit? Were you in the palace?
Yes.
I mean, anything more, any topics that came up, or just personal touches that
Well,
might be interesting to people?
the six of us, the board members, were in the working office, I understand, of the Pope, and we were sitting in a semicircle around him, very close, I would say, and sharing our personal experiences from the different countries we come from the indigenous people in Canada to Uganda to Central Europe to the US to South America, and and then he answered us, telling us that he is very much interested to work on this issue, but he is asking, well, it's not his words, but I would say have some patience to be willing to do the next steps. But at least my impression was that he is decided to act, but he's preparing his steps.
We also,
And it was in the official, like an official private audience in the morning program. We arrived there at 8:30 and left at 11.
So about an hour, you said?
an hour.
Yeah, an hour, and there was a conversation beforehand with another colleague of us.
So we were able to get an individual picture with him, of course, as we entered, and at the end we had a group picture. He presented us with rosary beads, but some of us are survivors on the board, and we also brought gifts for him as well. I brought a Newfoundland flag that was given to me by a woman after I walked across Newfoundland in July of 2015, and I ended my walk at the Mount Cashel Memorial. She had 5 brothers that attended Mount Cashel Orphanage, and that broke the scandal wide open in Canada, Mount Cashel, and she lost a number of her brothers to suicide. So he took that in and held it with me, and I gave him that flag as a representative, as a symbolic gesture from my province that suffered from Mount Cashel Orphanage, Belvedere Orphanage, individual clergy, as well as residential schools in Labrador. And now I'm going to pass it on over to my colleague Evelyn to share her experience as well, and then Janet.
My name is Evelyn Korkmas. I'm a Cree Indigenous residential school survivor from the Anishinaabe-Aski Treaty 9 territory in Canada. In 2022, Pope Francis came to Canada to apologize to the Indigenous people, and he promised to go on a path of reconciliation. Today, I feel like I was heard by Pope Leo XIV. I believe that he's going to continue this road to reconciliation. He was a very humble man. He understood our issue. He understood ECA's mission. And I'm very proud to say that he is going to be working with us in the near future, I hope. Yes, I was very pleased today. I felt like my voice has finally been heard on the Indigenous issues. As you all know, today we are looking for burial sites at the schools in Canada where we lost friends and loved ones. I expressed that to him, and I feel like he's going to work with us on that issue. Thank you. I also presented a gift to him. It was a smudge bowl.
Not everyone will know what that is.
Yes, a smudge bowl is a spiritual way of Indigenous people to pray. you light the sage, and you have the smoke go up, and you put it over your head and say, you know, that you want to think good thoughts, have a clear head. You put it over your eyes and say you want to see good things and a path forward. You put it over your mouth and you say you want to speak good things and have somebody help you say it properly to come out, and to hear good things, and you know, and you do the rest of your body to, you know, to get clearance or balance in your life. So I gave him this smudge ball to and it represents that we lost our culture when we went into these residential schools. So I want him to see what the Catholic Church took away from us. It wasn't really that evil. It was just to clear ourselves of, you know, whatever.
Thank you.
There you go. Janet?
Yes, thank you. Once again, my name is Janet Abuti. From Uganda. I'm a survivor of childhood sexual violence myself. And so with cultural differences in recognition, I appreciated that the most from the Pope. He recognized that there are different cultures and there are different ways in which things can be accepted into the culture. And for example, the zero tolerance law that we are pushing so hard to have it as a universal law, and not only protecting children in America and leaving the children in Africa and other underdeveloped continents. So he recognizes that it's a challenge to bring those into practice. And we know, all of us, that culture can be a barrier to certain implementation, but we know that these things can be achieved and can be implemented, though they take time. So him recognizing that there are cases of sexual abuse, clergy abuse in Africa as well, and he has come face to face with victims from Africa, which for many a times has kind of like been smeared over, like, oh, there are no cases in Africa. Whenever I come here with my colleagues and we talk about cases, they're like, oh, we don't have examples of cases in Africa. We do, and it's time to also bring them to light and put a name and a human behind the stories that we speak. So I appreciate, and I left the meeting with hope, and I know it is a big step for us, and yeah, it's a historical moment for me. Thank you.
Tim wanted to add something.
Yes, one of ECA's signature moves or initiatives is a zero tolerance law. Not simply a policy, but a law of the Universal Church. And so we've been emphasizing that since our beginning. And I actually had a fairly lively discussion with Pope Leo on this. He started out our meeting, said, trying to relax us, and he did, by saying, I've been Pope for 5 months, 15 days, and 6 hours, but who's counting? And so, very human, and we're trying to get a zero tolerance law patterned after the U.S. canon law. So we're not creating something out of whole cloth. There already is canon law on a zero tolerance in the United States. And why can't that be made universal? Why should children in the United States be safer than Janet's children in Uganda? And he said, he listened. He said, I can't just take my pen and put a signature on your work, but I think, or he says, I know it's something we have to work on. And I said, well, we want to be in the room when this is being discussed. Whoever's, we want to be part of that conversation. And he repeated, yes, it would be good for you to be in the room. So that we came with a lot of hope that we feel he's a very sincere man and didn't say things off the cuff, and we feel that he'll follow through and allow us to be a part of this discussion in the future. We know it's going to take time. We understand, he said, there's great resistance to a zero tolerance law. And we said we understand that, and in fact, if you were just simply sign a law now and you didn't have the troops behind you, what effect might it have? And we would like to work with you to get the troops on board and find out where those points of resistance are, so that we can move this issue along.
Just another thing too, beforehand, also I brought up the issue of bankruptcies and how churches are in North America are hiding behind them in a way, and it's not only the survivors that are paying the price, but it's also displaced parishioners, and good clergy are left to pick up the pieces, those who are still left standing. It's torn apart communities, and again, we had a very open and frank discussion, so that was really important about that.